because I don't love Donald Trump.
That's a very interesting point of view. Hard to defend, hard to justify. I don't know.
I'm just.
I don't know.
I'm astounded.
It's late in the game. How can anyone take that position?
I don't know. I'm astounded. Yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say. Is I'm astounded that anybody could take the position that this guy is good for the country, good for them, somebody you should be following along with. But listen, how many brown shirts did Mussolini have marching with him? Up until almost the very end. I mean, I think it was just in the last couple of days up there by Lake Como that he couldn't muster a lot of people to hang with him because they all knew what was coming.
Well, it was his favorite brown shirt. Carlo was there, always there,
and his girlfriend. I mean, yeah.
His girlfriend hanging by her heels.
Yeah, the girlfriend did not give up on him.
She didn't fare that well. She didn't. She paid for her decision.
Michael, you pay for the things. There's no free bus fare in life unless you sneak on. How's that for you? A Monday morning pearl of wisdom.
Sneaking on the crosstown bus, not that easy. It's something that's been done, and a lot of people may have a story to tell about it, but it's not that easy.
Well, that was one of the things that impressed me about San Francisco and actually made me want to move there. Believe it or not, when I got to San Francisco the first time, after getting out there and hanging with my brother and hitchhiking, we noticed that nobody collected fares to get on any of the Muni, the municipal railway. You get on a streetcar.
New York kids would notice that right away.
Go in through the back door, go in through the front door. You never had to show the driver a transfer. You never had to show the driver. The driver didn't do anything.
It was the honor system.
It seemed to be. Some people had a piece of paper in their hand and they just showed it to the driver as they got on. But I didn't see anybody popping money into the fare box. And I just said, as I in those days, when I saw things that were free or could be obtained for free, because I was fresh off of reading Abby Hoffman's Steal This Book. Still to this day, one of the most influential books in my lifetime. But when I saw things that you could get for free, I always enjoyed getting things you could get for free. There was something about them. I mean, listen, I worked hard and I earned my money and certainly worked, to get the things that I wanted. But there just seemed to be something really interesting about getting things for free.
Now, has the Muni in San Francisco changed their operations?
It's been a long time since I've ridden on the Muni. It's been, I can't remember the last time I was on the Muni. Here, I've been on the streetcars a couple of years ago. I haven't been on the light rail yet, and I'm waiting because I promised my daughter that we would take our first light rail ride together. She rides it all the time. She loves it. It gets her wherever she wants to go. And now that they've opened up the east side, where the light rail goes over the floating bridge, what could go wrong there? It's a pretty interesting, pretty solid thing. So I'll go when she gets back from Japan. We're gonna go over to the light rail and get on it and ride it over to the east side, and I'll have my initial ride on a light rail.
And does it take you to Issaquah or just Bellevue?
Doesn't go out that far yet. The first really kind of eastern extension goes out to Microsoft, goes out to Redmond.
Mhm.
I suspect that someday, in the not too distant future, probably I'll be gone, but she will be able to go to Issaquah on that light rail. And listen, it's a great thing. The system. I mean, people well, most of the people who didn't want to build it in the 70s when it would have been about a quarter of the cost, are probably dead and gone. But what a system! I mean, it's clean, it works. The trains run on time, which was a big Mussolini thing. Um, Goes downtown. It goes out to the east side now. You can go across the lake on it. Stop at Mercer Island. Um, I mean, it's go to UW. Go down to the airport. I mean, you can't imagine the number of people you see getting off of this thing with luggage. So a $200 trip where I am, it's $200 to go to the airport, or 150. Um, you people get on this thing, and for $2.35 or whatever it is, they go to the airport. Not a bad deal.
Speaking of
I think.
deals, in baseball, usually when you hit a home run, you get to trot around the bases and score at your leisure, and it's a celebration, and everyone has a good time. And you get back to the dugout, and there's a little ritual that goes on with your teammates and all that. But for the Mariners this weekend, when they played the Angels, they had to hit their home runs over a guy named Joe Adell. See if I get this guy right. I have to get his name right because yes, Adell, a Joe, who made 3 catches over the fence, robbing the Mariners of not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs in one game, including a trip that he made over the fence himself to catch the ball and land in the stands. And
First time in baseball history.
That's the type of thing that would happen to the Giants because of their level of frustration, which I'll get into later. I look forward to the 4-game series with the Mets this weekend. Don't ask me why I look forward to it. It turned out to be a good 4 games for the Mets, and it was a learning experience for the Giants, who have a lot of those ahead of them, I fear, this year. But Joe Adell robbed not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs from the Mariners, and I don't think that's ever been done before. I think you just said that. And in addition to that, the Angels are not an impressive team in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But they got a right fielder who knows he can judge the ball, is what I'm going to say. He apparently has a great vision. His timing is excellent as well. And there's not a lot of celebration in right field these days for anybody. It's a good place to play. It's a tough place to defend, but to achieve 3 robberies in right field in one game is worth the mention and worth the attention that the guy did get. And I was impressed, was thoroughly impressed, because so many things have to go just correct for you to time your jump like that and take a ball away from a major league hitter. And I'm sorry that had to happen to the Mariners, but
well,
there's brighter days ahead.
Yeah, I never when I see something like that, I don't want to say that I don't root for my own team, because I do, but I also am intelligent enough in the game to realize what I'm seeing something. It's like when you see it in no hitter. There's a piece of you being pitched against your team. There's a piece of you that doesn't want to see that guy complete that no-hitter. He wants one of your guys to get up and break up the no-hitter because nobody wants to be, no-hit against. But there's also the baseball fan in you, the person that loves the game of baseball, that says,
it's a
especially
rare
if you're
event.
in the park, you're watching it, you're saying to yourself, I want to see this. I want to see somebody pitch a no-hitter.
I've seen it in person at Candlestick Park, and I had to witness it. It was a Dodger that threw the no-hitter. And I will say that the Giants fans knew what to do. Once it got to the 8th inning, we were all cheering for the guy.
Yeah.
And it was something that I witnessed. I got to see it. It happened in front of me on a cold, foggy night at Candlestick. And that was an evening I'll never forget. And I joined the crowd rooting for a Dodger in Candlestick Park. Now that's a rarity. For me to admit that even happened is
that's not the Michael Knight I know and love.
I know.
That's something wrong with that. And now I've seen 3 no-hitters in person. The one that stands out above all was the Nolan Ryan no-hitter that I saw at the Oakland Coliseum in a game that I wasn't even supposed to be at.
Was he with Texas then?
It was the Texas Rangers, and I was there as not a worker, but as a spectator. Sitting in the stands with 2 people Annie O'Toole and Mary Kahn from the Great American Music Hall. We were supposed to go the night before. They're both baseball fans. Annie's gone now, but she was a huge baseball fan, huge A's fan. Mary, I still talk to, still see every once in a while. She lives up in Oregon. But we were supposed to go the night before. And for some reason, somebody was sick. I think I might have even had the flu or something. And anyway, couldn't go. So, sorry, well, we'll switch the tickets. I guess whoever had the tickets we'll go tomorrow night. Great. Sounds good. I got the card. They got the beer. Perfect combination. Go over to Oakland, and they had great seats. They had first base side seats. Just right between first base and home plate.
And Nolan had his stuff that night, I take it.
And Nolan had it. He had, I don't know that we even realized he was pitching a no-hitter until like the 5th. Had retired everybody, but he was mowing down A's. And, this isn't the A's of recent years. This was the A's of Walt Weiss and Jose Canseco and Mike Gallego and
Campy Campaneris,
Mark McGuire. No, not that old. But it was the powerhouse A's of, I think it was 1988, if I'm not mistaken. But and finally when we kind of latched on to what was going on, probably in the 6th or 7th inning, where we really realized that we were seeing history, because I think that was his 7th no-hitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
All of a sudden you're not rooting for the A's anymore. You want to see Nolan Ryan go through these guys, because you realize that you're watching. You're watching a piece of baseball history anyway. But when you're there and you're now watching Nolan Ryan dealing from this position of such dominance,
such strength.
Yeah, that guys don't know what to do. Guys that are getting up to the plate you can see by the 8th inning, they're kind of going up there, taking their swings and saying, let me get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not hitting this guy
I
today.
feel like John Kruk up here today. I don't feel safe.
They're just trying to do their thing. And it was just one of those things that you see in history. And you're seeing it, when you see it in the press box, it's a different story. I'm seeing history making events in the press box, and you can't cheer, you can't get emotional, you can't, you have to keep a certain amount of decorum. People are
True.
busy, they try to do their work, as you are. So you're realizing what you see, but yet you're not. You're not in the stands. You're like full on fan, man. You're up slapping people five next to you and hugging, and there was no more beer to be had after the seventh inning, I guess. But you just see it in a different light, and it's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. And my one regret, and I know I'll have a chance to do it someday, is I have the ticket stub, and all the times that I got to see Nolan Ryan after that, including I was at the game, his last game, where was in the Kingdome, where his arm went out right after Dan Howitt hit a grand slam home run off of him in, I think, the second inning. So it was the yin and the yang of Nolan Ryan. And and Ryan's always been a special player to me because I saw him in his rookie days. Saw him, when nobody really knew what Nolan Ryan was, except that he was this wild thrower. He was this guy you didn't want to get into the batter's box against, because you didn't know if he was going to hit you with, 100-mile-an-hour stuff or what was going to happen. So it was always a wild thing. But so just to watch it, to see it, and to be a part of it, to have hey, I was there that day, and to witness it with two friends too, and two ladies who love baseball. Interestingly, one was really an A's fan, but the other one was a real Giants fan. So it was kind of had the yin and the yang with you, and yeah, it was awesome.
And that was a day game or a night game?
It was a night game. It was a night game, and it was not a full. I don't even think it was a full house. Close to a full house.
Coliseum was not full all that often.
Well, in the good days, it was. Before
right.
before they built Mount Davis there, that atrocity that still stands there. It was really full. I mean, you could even sell your tickets for more than you paid for them in those days if you had them. But when they had the Bash brothers, operating out there in the 88, 89, 90, 91, that place was always hopping. When they were the A's that we knew and loved.
I always wondered how Jose Canseco could have a twin brother who looked just like him, built just like him, identical to Jose in every way, except that he couldn't play baseball. He was a minor leaguer at best.
It was
Ozzie Canseco, right?
Ozzie, yes. I almost said Jesse for some reason, but that was Elvis's twin brother, wasn't it?
Whoa, that's a good question. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it was Jesse Presley. And we'll never know what he could have attained because he was taken from the
as
earth
an infant.
as an infant. So imagine growing up in a world with two Elvises. I mean, I know we see the imitators these days, but actually imagine two identical Elvises. And imagine for a second, both of them could sing and perform, that they actually had the same capabilities,
Same talent.
same talent. They could do the same thing. So, and you're Tom Parker, you're Colonel Tom Parker. And you think, okay, we're going to send this Elvis to Europe because Elvis never went to Europe.
Huh. His records did. He was on the charts there, but not in person.
But he never made it over there. Went to Mexico, went to Canada,
Went to Hawaii
went
a lot.
to Europe. It's one fact about Elvis that still to this day blows me away. That for whatever reason, I guess he couldn't drive there. But that he for whatever reason chose not to perform in Europe or Asia.
Would have been huge in England and France.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and even in those days, it would have been huge. And, we think huge now. Anyway. By the way, we didn't introduce ourselves 20 minutes into the show, so let's do that. He's Michael Knight. I'm New York, Vinnie.
I'm in Pasadena. Vinnie's in Seattle, and we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, taking on the world such as it is, what's left of it. And the conclusion that I'm going to come to is that there may be less left of the world when Donald Trump rolls out his vision of the world, his vision of the future, his vision. Don't expect him to stick to it. If he can describe it, give him 20 minutes and he won't be able to remember what he said, and he'll just make up something else. He's at the end of his tether in terms of cognitive presence. He's lost his marbles. He's using profanity now regularly when discussing world events with world leaders and nations representatives. Can't take him seriously any longer because he's not predictable or reliable to any extent anymore, Vinnie. He's a loose cannon. He's a terribly disturbed and immature and off kilter human being that cannot be relied upon for a natural or normal or sensible response to a question or an event.
Yeah,
so consequently, the world that he's leaving behind and that he's influencing is disjointed and unpredictable and a mess.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can be expected to take him seriously, first of all.
Especially if he's calling for negotiations and 45-day ceasefires or whatever he's calling for today. I'm sure he'll mutate that and change it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some of the excuses that this is how he does business, and he floods the plane and floods the zone and puts so much stuff out there that his people are disarmed, the people he's negotiating against. That's all a crock of crap. He is,
he's unable to stay focused long enough to make sense in a presidential or political or military fashion. He cannot stick to the topic. He cannot make simple declarative comments. It's beyond him. It's way beyond him.
Yeah, it's sad to watch a human being denigrate like that. Although I do have to admit that I don't have a lot of sadness, because this is not somebody who's contributed to humanity in a way where you would even say he's, I feel bad for him because he's at the end, and it's just been he's done all of these great things, and now his great things have come to an end, and it's time for him to go to the funny farm or wherever he's going to go. And pack it in, get out of public life. But he can't do that. He can't. He's not going to bow out gracefully.
No. It will end in tragedy if it hasn't already.
Now, before we get full on into him, and I do want to spend time talking about him, Michael, I do just want to take a minute to talk about and just acknowledge the our Army and Navy and Air Force and Marines and Space Force and whoever took part in that rescue of the flyers that were shot down over Iran over the weekend.
They were extraordinarily lucky. You have to have some luck to do things right.
You got to have some luck, but I'm not going to just say they're lucky. I mean, they're skilled. They know what they do. They do what they do and are trained to do what they do. They are the highest level of ambulance drivers, if you will. You know, they know how to get into a situation and get out of a situation. This is the same type of people that took out Osama bin Laden years ago. A fact that is lost on any Trumper. But these are people that know their mission. They know what they're doing. They get in there and they don't question it or say, well, maybe we should do it this way. Maybe we should do it that way. They acknowledge in their minds that this thing was done, has been set up in a way that we will most likely succeed. We'll put our lives at risk, but we'll get in there. And let's face it, a plane that probably shouldn't have been anywhere near where it was. We shouldn't be there, but if you're going to be there, you got to be able to help the people that are, that are part of your force.
And he had three things that made it possible. He had a location device so they could figure out where he was. He had a communication device so he could talk to the people who were going to come and rescue him. And he had a weapon.
And from what I'm understanding, a first aid kit so he could treat his wounds.
His sprained ankle, which didn't help him because he had to climb the face of the mountain up to 7,000 feet. The combination of those three things made it possible. Not make it easy, not made it rule of thumb or elementary or something they'd done a million times. They had to improvise. They had to hide. They had to move. They had to do it all while being injured. And it's a fascinating story of military success when so much could have gone wrong. The three things he had with him made it possible for it to go right. They knew where he was. They could communicate with him, and he was safe to the extent that he could probably defend himself if they came upon him in the wild. So that's a fascinating story.
Yeah, and one of the things that is interesting, because I'm the geek that I am, the nut job that I am, I watched not too long ago a survival film from World War II. These are all on YouTube, and you can go on and you can find all of this stuff. And there was this film that was done about flyers in World War II that get shot down in the jungle and how to survive in the jungle. And many of the things that these people, this guy who was rescued, put into play was in this like 1941 training film. How do you survive when you are shot down in the jungle? Scenario is different. The topography is different. The geography is different. But the principle is the same. Use your brain. Don't panic. Right? It was just fascinating to me that I had watched that, I don't know, a year or so ago. And when I read about the rescue, much of the stuff that was in that training film still applied today. Still was. So, if you see an old first aid film, don't forget everything. We're 26 seconds away from the Apollo, not the Apollo record being broken. I'm
The
going to see if I
Artemis.
can punch that up here for us to kind of watch while we're.
This is where they cross they reach the distance from Earth that's the furthest man has ever traveled.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. The crew aboard.
Also, the day that we go on the dark side of the moon, and I hope they take lots of pictures because I want to see that sucker.
It seems
Curious
like
about
they
it.
are. It seems like that they're going to be taking lots of pictures. I believe that. Yeah, there we go. There is the 55 years ago, Lavelle Swigert and Hayes flew 248,655 statute miles away from Earth. And they are right at this second doing that. This particular crew that from Artemis 2, that mission, are doing it at this very moment. So we are watching, while we're sitting here, you and I are watching history being made. And, I don't think we'll be around to see it, Michael. But, the fact that this is being done not to go to the moon necessarily, but to go beyond, to use the moon as a
Slingshot.
Slingshot as a place to head off to another planet, Mars, is, to me, I don't know. I know people say, well, we're wasting money. We're doing this. We're doing that. Think of the people we could feed. Think of this. Think of that. But there's something about this. With all this crap going on in this country, I can look at this and feel proud of our country. Feel that we can still do some things, that it's not all going down the tubes. I don't know how you feel, but to me, it just feels like, yeah, maybe once we get ourselves out of this literal long national nightmare that we're experiencing, that we could be okay. It'll take time to get back, but maybe this country will survive this. Maybe this country will prosper again, and maybe we'll learn something from this kind of stuff. Maybe not. Maybe the assholes that drive the big pickup trucks will win, and and spew their diesel smoke now at $7 or $8 a gallon out into the atmosphere. Maybe they'll win, but not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast. Maybe the geeks, the scientists, the people like the people in this spacecraft that are running this program, will have something to say about it.
Well, I'm a supporter of the space program. Here in Pasadena, we are the home of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the JPL, which is the factor, the element of space travel that has to do with not manned space travel, but mechanical space travel, capsules, orbiters, telescopes, all the elements of space exploration that don't include sending a man into space, but include going to Mars with a rover and projects of that sort. So we're the home of Caltech and JPL. Lots of space geeks walking around in Pasadena.
Good.
And we thank them for their abilities and their intelligence and their gift, because they figure it out on paper. How do you figure out when the Earth is not tugging on the space capsule, but the moon is making it go faster? As you get further away from the Earth, the capsule starts to slow down because of gravity. But then it gets into it gets closer to the moon, and they somehow have the math to say now the moon is pulling the capsule stronger than the Earth is holding on to it. There's this magic spot between the Earth and the moon where one takes over the other, and the capsule starts to go faster, and it gains speed, and then it uses the moon for the slingshot, and that speed is put to good use to get to Mars. And the question that Christian had about this was, who the hell figured that out? Who the hell did the math that the Earth now is not holding the capsule, the moon is pulling it? Yesterday it was the other way around. How did it change? Where does it change? What's the math to figure out exactly how it changes? Does it apply to other planets as well and their moons? So it's a problem that can be answered with mathematics, but who the hell figured that out? And how did they know that they were right? How did they prove it? And how did they check it? And how did they use that information to help space travel?
Well, that's
those questions alone seem to be unanswerable.
Well, that's those are good questions. Because I guess you figure it, you take your best shot figuring it, and then you try to figure out if it's right, and you send somebody up there to see if it's right. And if they come back, they're right. And if they keep on going into space, they become a David Bowie song.
Yeah.
And
you try to make contact with Captain Tom.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just it's something to see, to witness. I mean, I've always been a space geek from the littlest time that I can remember. I mean, propulsion of people has always fascinated me. Cars, spaceships, airplanes, but mostly cars and spaceships. I haven't had the thought about airplanes in the middle, like many people you would think would be a natural progression. But we're watching right now. The crew is going to dim the cabin lights, turn out the lights, as Donna Summer once sang, and give them a better view of their shot around the far side of the moon.
And in the shot we're using right now, you see on the left the capsule, what's going on in the interior, and on the right, there's the moon itself getting closer by the moment.
I wonder how and I'm sure if I took the time to look it up, but I do wonder how close, what kind of examination of the surface of the moon they're going to have. Will they be able to see? And the reason I thought about this, and I did a piece over the weekend on Drive Time in Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? That looked at the original, or as I like to call it, where my worlds collided, the original rover that ran on the moon. There's 3 of them up there. It was built by Boeing and General Motors back in 1971. First visualized in Collier's magazine in 1951 of a car that could travel on the moon. And it took them 17 months to put it together, but General Motors and Boeing down here in Kent, Washington, put together this lunar rover. And 2 of the astronauts, the 2 astronauts that were down on the moon from the 3 that were sent up to the moon with Apollo, were on the surface of the moon driving around in this electric vehicle. See, you thought electric vehicles just started last week. But so I researched it and I looked at it and I found, and what started me was I don't know how many weeks ago. When my sister was up here last year, we went down to the Museum of Flight, and they have a full-scale model, mock-up that they had used back then to find out things about this on display at the Museum of Flight. So I shot video, took pictures, and I put this piece together. And if you want to see the piece, I won't play it now, but I'll put it on our Facebook page. It'll be up there a little later this afternoon. You'll be able to see it. But it was just this vehicle was fascinating to me, how they could get. And I wondered if they have the means in this space capsule that they're in right now to look at the surface of the moon and be able to spot these things because they were left there. Now, they're going around the far side of the moon, so I don't know if they're on that side of the moon, really. But if they would be able to, if they're going to be able to see any of the space debris, because we have left a lot of stuff on the moon.
And the rovers that we use are still parked there somewhere, double parked?
Still, yeah, they didn't bring them back. They just left them there. So
it's like trying to find a parking spot in front of Dempsey's on a Friday night.
Tough to find, but not impossible. Or will the Chinese, when they get there, because the Chinese are doing the same thing we're doing. They're on the way to the moon too, and doing it at a much, I think, it seems to me, rapider pace than we are. But we don't have to have that rapid pace because we've been there already.
And they're on the dark side.
So it's a whole lot, but it seems that the Chinese will put men or people on the moon in a not too distant future.
Right.
So, and how are we going to cut that up? If they establish a residence there, will that mean that is subject to Chinese law? Will it? Is there a tribunal? Is there an association? Is there some kind of body that says this is what you can do, what you can't do? Because there's no, and will Trump adhere to it while he's president?
No.
Bad enough that we have to figure things out on Earth, but now we're going to have to figure things out on the moon as well. I don't know.
Do you plant a flag like the conquistadors and just claim it for your king?
Well, there's a bunch of flags up there, but as you know, I'm sure, as you're well aware of, these flags wash out pretty quickly. The solar radiation.
It's a tough neighborhood.
Yeah, just washes them out. So there's a piece of material possibly somewhere on the moon, but chances are it doesn't have the stars and stripes on it. They've long been washed out of it, and it's not standing more than likely. But the fact that we parked 3 cars up there already ought to say something, right? Because they have stickers on them with the United States.
But you got to have your ticket. You can't just say, I want my rover. You got to have a claim ticket. I want to know when you brought it, where you parked it.
Right. Will Ed Burns Jr., Kooky, be standing at a valet parking stand?
He'll get your rover, but he's got to have the ticket.
Got to have the ticket. If you're going to leave 77 Sunset Strip, you got to have the ticket. Ed Kooky Burns. And
famous for combing his hair.
Yeah. There was a song, right, Ed?
Kooky, lend me your comb.
Yes, thank you. Kooky, lend me your comb. I knew it had something to do with combing your hair. Oh man, but this is quite exciting. All right, let's talk about Trump a little bit. While we're looking at the good, we can talk about the bad. What do you do with this cat?
Well,
what's going to happen here, Michael?
There are people probably listening to his press conference, which is still going on, who maybe you're taking notes is how far afield he has gone today, because I heard him try to explain what happened during the rescue mission, and it was a mess. He just couldn't stay focused. He couldn't stay on target. He couldn't stay on point. And his press conferences in the last 6 months have increasingly gotten disjointed. There's just times for him to go off. And he thinks he's in charge of the situation, and he's not. He's not able to control his thoughts and present his ideas in a professional presidential way. And we're suffering for it. We're suffering financially, we're suffering economically, we're suffering politically, we're suffering in terms of our image in the world has been dashed and is in pieces. And nobody wants to take us seriously. Nobody wants to be in a position where they have to rely on us to do the right thing. We can't do it. We are beyond that. And we're firing generals in the middle of a war. And we're giving strength and support to idiots like Kash Patel and Pete Hegseth. How can anybody make a argument that we know what we're doing, that we're a nation, a modern nation that is worthy of respect and an element of sensible control on this planet? You can count on the United States to do the right thing, to make the right effort, to answer the call, to be there if there's an earthquake, to honor our relations and our ongoing and important relationships with especially the NATO nations. But no one can do that. No one can with any certainty know that Donald Trump is going to do the right thing. He's more liable to do the wrong thing and to be proud of doing it the wrong way than to be a reliable leader of the free world. Consequently, no one knows what he's going to say from day to day or do from day to day. And this business of deadlines is hilarious because Donald Trump fades. He can't remember what he said yesterday. So he just changes the subject and comes back with another collection of nonsense that dominates the news for one day and is replaced by his chaos from the next day. The chaos of Tuesday is no good on Wednesday. He's got to come up with something new to say that makes no sense, that takes the focus away from his whatever meaning he might have had. And when we need structure and certainty from our leaders, we get just the opposite. We get another dose of Donald Trump.
And nobody, and what bothers me about this, Michael, is nobody, even in his weakened state, even in this now that most people with a brain in their head, except for maybe Lindsey Graham and the leader of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, most people realize that this guy is a whack job, that he doesn't hold the power. He doesn't hold the strength that he did. And yet they're afraid to go up against him, which is good in one sense because it's only going to hurt them, I believe, for the November elections. I think we're headed toward a landslide in the November elections of Democrats or independents
and Republicans,
or centrist Republicans, even for people that of people of sense, people who can demonstrate that they have some brains in their head and an ability to govern. We need government. We need people that can govern, that can run this country. That's what we need. We don't need movie stars. We don't need Oprah. We don't need another Trump. We don't need J.D. Vance and his hillbilly crap. We need people that can govern this land of ours. and make the stuff, the systems that we've put into place work
and get
for
our
the
cost
benefit of
of
the
living
people.
in order. We started with bacon and eggs being expensive, now gasoline, now rent, now everything that you can imagine. The whole financial stability of the nation is teetering on the whims of this madman.
Well, pancakes yesterday, I had $21.75 for an order of pancakes in not a luxury restaurant. It was at the top of the Hotel Sorrento. It was a nice little restaurant up in Bellingham. $21.75 for a souffle. Really, it wasn't even really pancakes. It was souffle. What does it take to make a souffle? A couple eggs,
And you have to have eggs,
some cream.
creme fraiche.
I don't know. I don't know what it. I'm not a cook, not a chef, but I know that I saw that and I said, "Holy crap! I'm going to spend a quarter day's pay just
Just for a light
on
breakfast.
breakfast. That doesn't include the coffee. So it's they got to do something. I think. I mean, I don't know how long people are going to take it, or even what they can do about it. But how long are people going to accept what's going on?
But there are emergency cost controls that can be put into place.
Nixon did it. I mean, we've talked about it before. The wage and price freeze. At what point does the president step up? And I believe he still has the power to do it. If he has the power to do all of this other shit he says, then why can't he just say nobody raises prices for 90 days? Nobody gets an increase in their pay for 90 days. Nobody's rent goes up for 90 days until we get the best economic minds in here and figure this out.
That would resonate across the planet. The economic chaos would stabilize everywhere, and markets around the world would reflect it. But we can't answer the call.
Well, if you're trying to steal all you can, it's probably not a good idea. If your kids are sitting in a room somewhere manipulating markets so that you're able to profit from declaring a war, or not even declaring a war, but sending, I mean, there are stories, and I don't know if these are true or not true, but they seem to be credible, that there are people in this administration that profited from us bombing Iran when we did, because they had
markets.
they had these markets that you can bet, same thing we used to hear about only happened in England. Now, I guess, happens here. When does the president stand up and say, no, that's illegal. You go to jail if you do that in this country. That's my executive order. If you bet on tragedy, you go to jail.
And if you're using inside information to ensure that that bet will be lucrative, you definitely go to jail.
You go to jail. Do not stop. Do not press go. Do not do anything. You go to fucking jail. Sorry for my language, but it pisses me off. The way these people are allowed to rob us, and then on top of robbing us, how they rub it in our faces, and how stupid people, absolute stupid people, let them sit there and try to justify them rubbing it in our faces. I never believed that people could be that stupid as to justify what they do. Sorry, I just it.
Well, if you're a Republican, you can't criticize Trump. You can only support him. You have to invent a new way to come up with it every day, where your comments and your conclusions are not based in reality, but based in making the Fuhrer happy, making him convinced that you are his loyal supporter in any situation and cannot be dissuaded with reality or facts or the truth.
Yeah, it's just it boggles the mind, Michael. It boggles me. Hang on, I hit a button and I lost you. There you are. It boggles the mind how people allow it to happen. Okay, you know what? I take that back. It doesn't boggle my mind because I've been around this country and I've seen people and I could imagine how people let it happen.
They were happy to let it happen. They were
I'm happy
complicit.
to let it happen. I've let things happen in my life. But you know what? When things have gone belly up, I've either tried to fix it myself or asked somebody for help in how to fix it. I made a mistake. I did something wrong. I believed something that I shouldn't have. How do I fix it? How do I make it better? How do I stop it? And that usually involves saying, geez, I was wrong.
Let's back up and get this right.
Let's fix this. Let's make it right. What do we got to do to make it right? And it just seems like there's none of that. There's no admitting you were wrong if you're in this administration. There's
Never.
no admitting you were wrong if you're a part of this Republican Party. There's no admitting you were wrong if there's anything to do with this side of or these people. There's no humbleness. There's no humility.
And there's
There's
no intelligence. There's no smart guys
not even that.
helping the
Oh,
effort.
forget that.
No smart guys. Pete Hegseth is smarter than going to get. Kash Patel, with the look of a frightened raccoon, is as good as he's going to get. Donald Trump, out of his mind on how many burgers he's had that day, is convinced that he's cognitively, intellectually, militarily superior to everyone around him. More superior to the general, superior to the experts, superior to the individuals who are paid and have careers that allow them to offer intelligent support and guidance. They're all marginalized or fired or humiliated. Their opinions and their service are not wanted.
Well, that's what happens.
Donald Trump says, I got this.
Yeah, that's what happens when instead of the best and brightest, you want the loyalist.
The loyalist putz is what, one after the other.
You don't care if he knows what he's doing. All you care is that you know that he says that what you're doing is right.
Damn, Vinnie, that's right.
It's it's strangely similar to I talk about this with some of the other people that review cars that I know that I'm in touch with. People today, when they ask you about a car that they bought or that they're thinking about buying, they don't want you to tell them the truth. They don't want you to say to them, well, you probably shouldn't buy that car because it has this and this and this wrong with it, or it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that, it doesn't do what you need it to do, or, no. They want you to endorse their choice. They want you to tell them how good their choice was. They want you to validate their idea. They don't want information. They've done the research. They know. They've looked at the internet.
They made their decision. They want you to endorse it.
Nothing about. They're smarter than you. So why are you even asking me? Well, I just wanted to know what you thought. No, you didn't want to know what I thought.
Just the
What you
opposite.
should do is send me a check for $100, and I'll give you 5 minutes of why you've made the greatest decision in car buying.
There will be no regrets. Trust me on this one. You are right on this one. I don't know where you came up with the idea that you had to buy a 1975 Citroen, but it was a great move. You'll be happy.
Yeah, you'll be happy with that. Believe me, you've just made something that's going to make you the happiest person in the world. You'll love it, and what you should do is get familiar with that light rail that they just installed up there, right next to I-5, because you'll be taking that a lot more than you think. And buy a car from the dealer that's close to that you can walk to it without too much trouble, because you'll be riding it a lot more than you think. But good luck.
Good luck with that.
But that's this administration. There are a bunch of people who don't want advice. They don't want you to tell them, or say to them, if you did it like this, it would probably be better. No, they want you
they
to.
want Pete Hegseth to make the decision based on Donald Trump's whims and to fire the generals who intercede on the side of reality and experience and training and education. They don't want that. In fact, they reject that. That's the first thing they reject. Somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who's an expert, somebody who's a doctor, for instance, if you're dealing with a contagion that has to be fought with the intelligence of the full medical community. None of that. No doctors involved. Bobby Kennedy is a better source for information than the doctor. What does the doctor know, and how did he know it? And who taught the doctor? Where can we find a hole in this argument?
Not only that, but the best doctor that you could find on the face of the earth with the information about contagions, because he's only dealt with them all of his life.
Fauci, yeah, we don't want him.
He's the guy who almost, I don't want to say single-handedly because there were so many people involved in it, but led the effort to figure out what the hell was going on with AIDS when people were dropping dead in the street from it. He's the guy who said, let's get him into this ward at San Francisco General and figure out what's going on. And came up with the answer.
Yes.
Couldn't fix it right away.
But in time,
he gave them the groundwork to be able to figure it out.
And he had to hide and provide his own private protection and security because Donald Trump put a target on him. And Anthony Fauci became marginalized, and his medical view of the world was limited because Donald Trump is a murdering son of a bitch.
A guy should be hailed as a hero on the face of the earth, a guy that they should hold. I mean, you talk about holding parades for the Apollo astronauts down the Canyon of Heroes. Fauci deserves his own parade for the lives he saved.
And the Center for Disease Control and all the top national organizations that fight contagious diseases are all been marginalized, have all been decimated, have all fired the wrong people, have all hired definitely the wrong people, and have put the equivalents of Lindsey Graham and the do-nothing Congress in charge of our first line of defense against medical problems, ensuring that we will react wrong to the next contagion that presents itself on the planet. We will not be able to respond professionally because Donald Trump destroyed our ability to do so. Purposefully destroyed it. Got it wrong and kept it wrong and made it wrong and multiplied the wrongness every day. And he's doing it today with the war and he'll do it with another topic before he's through. The man is a menace to society. He has to be dealt with.
Well, yeah, and hopefully before this Iranian situation blows up literally in our faces. The people that are cheering that we kicked shit out of the Iranians don't realize all of the lives that have been lost in the time that we have been dicking with these people since 1979. And if you think they sponsored terrorism before, wait, you ain't seen nothing yet with these people. And again, I talk about the leadership of this country, not the Iranian people themselves. Although, when you blow up a girls' school or you blow up a school, you certainly don't make friends out of those people who might be your friends.
We don't have friends on the planet. We don't even have the NATO alliance anymore. We have destroyed the very fabric of our defense. Makes me sick.
Yeah. What was built in the second half of the 20th century to protect us, to make us feel safe, to make us feel like maybe could avoid a future world war,
is in tatters.
Is going to take a lot to rebuild. It's going to take a lot for people to trust anybody from these here United States on the world stage, because the reasons are obvious.
And on that grim note, maybe we should gather here on Wednesday and see what a wacky Wednesday will provide for us. And by then we'll have some pictures of the dark side of the moon.
I'm looking at them right now. Let me see if I can just punch this up here real quick. Yeah, this is they're getting ready to. I don't know if that's an actual picture or a visualization. So I've been paying attention to the show, not to that. So it's certainly a historic day for this country, and a day that hopefully we can put aside the stuff that we feel about the people that are running the country,
the ugliness of our government,
and just look at what a government and agencies and people that are focused, are trained, and are committed to the good of people can do. This what you'll see today in the moon, on the moon, is everything we can be. What you hear from the president this morning touting the price drop of eggs in a press conference scheduled to go up against the time that the Americans and people that are in this space capsule have accomplished what they've accomplished.
The Americans and one Canadian.
Yeah, is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that somebody in this administration would schedule a press conference for this babbling idiot to talk while these people are accomplishing this great feat. It's disgusting.
Have a good day, Vin. Have a great space day and enjoy the achievement.
I'm going to enjoy it, Michael. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to go get in this electric car that I'm driving this week and go take a ride and enjoy the beautiful weather and enjoy. I'm going to say hello to a few people I'd never met before, and then get back to the house and not watch the news for the rest of the day, except for space news.
Okay, Ben. See you Wednesday.
If the Lord's willing, the creek don't rise, and we will see you on Wednesday. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, Michael. Take care of yourself.
It's a great wine. Have a goblet in honor of the space achievements today. Thanks, Ben.
All right, Michael. Take care. Thank you all for listening to. We always appreciate the time that you spend with us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And look at our Facebook page. We'll have that lunar rover feature up there for you a little later today. Thanks. Bye.
See you, Ben.
See you.